Hey everybody, welcome to my video of the 2021 CKNA Grand Nationals 5. I was running the Masters class here. We're going to start right off into qualifying. Up to this point, I did pretty good with all the practice sessions. I was getting quicker and quicker, and I think in the last last practice session, I ended up the 15th fastest. So that's how they gridded us, was by your time from the last practice session. So I ended up 15th. And I was actually found myself in a pretty good position, not realizing that I had Michael Dittmer in front of me. I knew he was running pretty good up to this point, so I was hoping the GoPro would capture, some footage of him, see where I can improve my line, because I was not running the same. He was about half a second quicker than I was, so I was hoping to learn some things. So here we go. This is our out lap here. I just kind of getting the tires warmed up, trying to do the best I can to stay up with them. Ideally, I was really hoping to catch the guys in front of me to be able to capture a draft. But like I said, it was Michael Dittmer in front of me. He ended up running this qualifying session, and he qualified number 1. So in another lap or two, you're going to see he starts to pull on me, and you can see why. The guy was just super fast. He did a fantastic job. There was no way I was going to catch him and try to utilize some type of draft to help myself in getting a better qualifying position. At this point, I'm still not fairly comfortable on the track as far as knowing exactly where I want to, my braking zones are. I was still learning up until this point where I can improve my driving. The out lap actually took a pretty good line. I was pretty happy with it, but as the qualifying session went on, I noticed that my line wasn't, I think I was pushing too hard. I think the rubber was down. The new tires running for qualifying had a lot of grip in them. I think I was getting back into the throttle way too soon, and it was just hurting my times. I wasn't waiting long enough to get back on the throttle. I wasn't letting the cart roll as normally as I would. So I think I was just pushing too hard and ended up hurting my lap times here. So you're going to see it here in a second. I'm actually going to get passed in that same corner in the next lap. So we'll just ride around here while I piddle around, pretending like I am a race car driver, but at this point I'm not. So one thing I realized going through, I had a pretty loose cart for the most part, but going through the turn 2, turn 3 here, I noticed that my cart the engine RPMs were bogging down just a little bit. I actually had to lift off the throttle just a hair for both those corners just so the rear end wouldn't slide out from underneath me. So I already knew I was losing a little bit of time there. What used to make up quite a bit of time in that last corner throughout the weekend, finally was able to figure out how to take that corner. But you can see right here, I just could not get the cart rotated around for the second part of that double right-hander. That ended up killing my momentum as well. Now, 2 years ago, I did run Grand National 3, and this corner coming up here was my Achilles heel. But this year, for whatever reason, I was just taking it better than most guys. Not the best, but I was taking it a whole lot better this year. And then in Grand National 3, this was my bread and butter corner, and this year ended up being my Achilles heel. I just could not get this corner straight all weekend long. So you see the number 75 there. He finally passes me and starts pulling away a little bit from me, and I was like, oh man, I am having a horrible run here. Dittmer's gone, not realizing he ended up running number 1. The guy in front of him ended up qualifying 4th. This guy here in front of me ends up qualifying 8th. So I'm just doing everything I can, just completely dejected at this point because everybody around me is running so much better. I'm like, man, this is going bad. So I'm able to get through turn 4 there a little bit better. I start reeling him in a little bit. I'm trying to catch his draft. Anything I can do to help get me through here. I did take this corner normally like I had been. He just took it a little bit better, so I still wasn't gaining on him. He bobbled right there. I don't know if you guys noticed that. I was able to catch up by another cart length or 2. So at this point, I'm doing everything I can just to try to catch him, catch his draft, anything to help improve my qualifying time here. So then we get to my corner here, like I called my bread and butter this year, I catch a couple more cart lengths up to him at this point. I was able to get through that corner much cleaner. Same thing here. I've been screwing this corner up to this point. I finally do it right. He's just shaking his head. I don't know why, he's trying to lose me or whatever. And unfortunately, I have to actually feather the throttle because in qualifying for CKNA in the Grand Nationals, you're not allowed to bump draft. So I had to stay off of his bumper. I didn't want to get too close to make it even appear like we were drafting. So I actually had to feather the throttle a couple of times on that last lap there. It ended up being my fastest and it allowed me to qualify 18th. So at this point, I'm just trying, okay, can I get a better lap in? I'm doing everything I can to stay in his draft, to try to go faster. And you're going to see here, we're going to make the right, we're going to come up to the left, and then he's going to get off the track with the tire, and whoop, there he goes. So he took himself out, and at that point, I'm again by myself on the track, nobody to draft with, so I wasn't going to go any faster than my previous lap here. So finishing it out here, all I'm thinking of is, well, let's just keep digging, keep working on the line, see if I can learn something here in qualifying. I'm by myself, so I don't have anybody else to worry about around me. I get through that corner pretty well. I was happy with it. Drifted a little bit further out than I wanted to. Coming back up to the scoreboard turn here. Finally was able to get down in, but then I damn near go off the other side of the track. So again, my driving is not as clean as I would like it to be. I'm coming up to the left-hander here for the straightaway to the start-finish line. I noticed that I was kind of pushing quite a bit through that corner all weekend long. A lot of guys were able to keep it tight and get a better run off of it, but through the checker flag there, ended up 18th at the 119.7. The leaders were running about a 119 flat to a 119.2. Okay, Saturday morning practice, right? Qualifying was Friday night. Ended up 18th out of 42 guys who took the green flag for qualifying. So this is the first practice session Saturday morning. I was fortunate enough to get out there right behind Carlos. He was underneath the CRG tent with me under Camp Chaos, Loose Screw Racing. Can't thank those guys enough for everything they did for us this past weekend. Super gracious, awesome people to hang out with underneath the big tent. We also had James Perkins in front of us. He is one of the Florida boys that we know very well down here in Florida. Runs very fast, always wanting to, one of those guys you're always wanting to, he's in the front of the pack, and this is who you're trying to chase all the time. So I really wanted to, at this point, stay up with Carlos, stay up with James, and see what we can do together from the back of the pack here, just to see how I really stack up with everybody else. So I thought I was in a pretty good position here, and we're going to work out with some people and see if we can't find some more speed as we go along the practice session here. So here we are, right? So following Carlos, and I'm already losing a little bit of pace here. I'm like, oh man, this is already not looking good for me. I'm thinking this is, what the hell am I going to do? But I don't know what happens. Obviously, they're with a pack of guys in front of them, so I don't know if they're getting held up a little bit or what's going on. But I do end up finally catching back up with them here. But again, just studying their line because I know they're faster than me. They're a couple tenths faster than me, so I'm just watching their lines. I think guys in front of them are screwing them up, holding them up. They're not really being aggressive, trying to get around them either. So again, just trying to learn what I can, get around the track a little bit better. Here we're finally they're starting to make some moves, and obviously if I had to choose between one or the other, I'm going to go with my CRG teammate for the weekend, Carlos. Go right around that guy. And again, it's just trying to stay on his bumper, but I don't want to be too close because I know if they do have to brake check for whatever reason, something goes on in front of them, then I don't want to be caught up and take off Carlos's bumper. Finally, it looks like on the back half of that left-hander there, I was able to keep it tighter. I get a better run off of there where I'm not losing ground like I had been for a lot of the sessions at this point. So I was actually starting to take that double left-hander on this straightaway much better at this point. But like I said, this is the last time we see a dry track pretty much for the rest of the weekend then. So So I don't know what happened there with Carlos, but all of a sudden I just about run right up onto his bumper. I got to let off a little bit. James and Carlos gets around the 450 there, but 450 ends up slamming the door on me. I couldn't get on the inside of him, so we're going to ride around a lap or two here behind him. At this point, I thought the 450 was holding up James and Carlos, and I thought they were going to run away from us. And I was like, well, let me do what I can. Maybe work with the 450 here, and we can catch back up to the two in front of him. And surprisingly, though, they didn't really pull away like I thought they were going to. So I knew then at that point that the 450 did have some speed. So he just happened to maybe make a slight error. James and Carlos were able to get around him. So I was like, well, let me work with the guy and see what I can do. And I'm also see where I can also use as a passing zone. Right, where can I pass this guy? And there's already a couple places that I was able to identify just off of the last half a lap here, so that I knew he wasn't getting a good run out of. So as we're going through corner 4 here, again, just still overdriving the cart at this point. He jumps the curb. I didn't do that. I hadn't been doing that up to that point. Now the next lap it's going to bite him, but he ends up catching back up to Carlos at that point, so he's able to get through that right-left-hander a little bit better than I was at that point. We're caught right back up to Carlos or on his butt. So really, we've caught James and Carlos again. So okay, this is working. Let's see where we can go with this. I don't know how aggressive he's going to be. It is just practice. We have first heat coming up next. Again, I get through this my bread and butter corner a little bit better. I'm able to get suck up right back on his bumper. I'm actually having to stop here. He slowed down a little bit sooner than I expected, so I ended up killing a little bit more momentum than I wanted to there. But we're going to catch back up to him here. This double left-hander is able to finally keep it tight. I get a decent run off of there. Here I go. I get suck up on his draft. Do I pull out and try to pass him? No, I'm going to stay right behind him. Right? I'm already petering out, slamming off the rev limiter there. So I do stay behind him at this point. Getting through corner 2, corner 3 here. Try to keep it smooth. I started to actually slow down going through corner 4. I've been taking it wide open throttle, and I was actually noticing that I was getting through there. Now you saw he jumped the corner there, killed his line for these next sequences of corners here, and I was able to just suck right up on him here. Stay on his bumper through the double right-hander. I believe this is the cell phone tower. I get through there much quicker. I was able to swing it wide, and I get a run off of him. There's nothing he can do at this point. We get through the left-hander here, and there I go. So I get around him here, and when I knew once I was clear and I got into my bread and butter corner, I was going to be done with him, and just I could focus on, can I catch Carlos and James? Now I knew if they were working together, there was no way in hell I was going to catch them. But I saw Carlos make a move up there, so he was actually wanting to be a little bit racy with James. So I was like, all right, I have a shot here, so let's see what I can do. Again, keeping it tight on the exit of the double left-hander, much better than I'd been doing, especially in qualifying. I wasn't pushing as bad on the second half of the corner. Banging off the rev limiter again, going through corner 1, which I had no problem with all weekend. 2, was able to finally get it tight. 3, got it tight, but it's floated out a little bit. Going into corner 4 here. Didn't quite slow down like I wanted to. Like still, I'm still trying to figure that corner out, but I get through here really well. And at this point, I'm thinking, all right, here I am. I'm catching Carlos, I'm catching James, and all of a sudden, James puts his hand up. I think he ends up either having a loose wheel or I think he popped the chain. So I was like, all right, well, I have Carlos in front of me. He's got no one to work with. I'm not working with anybody. Let's see, can I catch Carlos? So I get through the corners here, and I also noticed at the same time we're catching the group out in front of us. So I know we're actually going at a pretty good clip here. And get through my bread and butter corner here. I'm like, oh man, I get a great run on Carlos, and all of a sudden he throws a hand up, pulls off in the grass. He loses a chain. I was like, well, it's pretty much this is the last lap of the session. I get through the scoreboard corner there, and I didn't realize it was the last lap at that time. I see the guys in front of us. I'm like, can I catch those guys? I know they're probably, I don't know if they're racing, if they're working together or what, but you see the checker flag up here coming through the start-finish line. So, overall, not a bad session. I was able to stick up with James, and I was able to stay up with Carlos, so everything went pretty well. Alright, here we are, first round on Saturday for the Masters class. Now, I mentioned in the last video that it was the last time we saw the dry, and sure enough, here's the rain, and it was pouring down rain. I'm going to go ahead and just play this whole video because honestly, I never had so much fun in my life. So here I am starting 18th. There were 37 carts that took the track. I'm just tiptoeing around with everybody else and then get to turn 3 and I turn it sideways. So I was like, oh crap. You know, early in the race I knew everybody was right there. So as we're going into turn 4, I am literally last place. But something flipped in me. I'm never racing in the rain. This is only actually my second time in the rain. And I was like, oh hell no, I'm not letting this happen. So somehow I just start picking people off left and right. I ended up 37th place into turn 4 here. There was Todd Barron. I just passed him. He ended up winning the Legends class this past weekend up there. But I was like, I am not going to finish last in this race. I paid way too much money, spent too much time here. I'm like, this is not going to happen. So I did what I can, and next thing you know, I've already passed like 10 carts at this point, a couple corners later. So I'm on a tear. I'm like, I still don't know what the cart can do in the rain. I've never really pushed it before. I don't know how much I can trust rain tires, but all I know is don't go in the groove, and so people are going to go ahead and gift you positions as it is, like that guy did. You know, people are going to have to slow down to avoid them. Can I keep my momentum to keep going around people? So I'm doing everything I can. You know, at this point, I'm now 12, 13 positions up from where I was at, you know, in last place in corner number 4, and we're still not even done with the first lap yet. So, again, just, you know, keeping it tight on the second half of that left-hander there down the start-finish line. I was running a little bit better with the rain tires. I got to thank Jorge, put a hell of a setup on my chassis. He's a hell of a driver in the rain. He helped me out with the chassis setup. This thing was glued to the ground. I could not believe it. It was the best thing that could have happened to me, having not really raced in the rain before. And I was able to build up a ton of confidence in this kart as the session went on. So, again, I'm just going to leave the video running because, you know, the camera doesn't do it justice as far as how bad it was, as far as trying to see out the visor on the helmet, because yeah, you can see all the rain on the camera, but I was constantly having to lift my visor. I couldn't see anything at some points. I was literally just driving with memory, honestly, after some of these corners, just because there was so much water on my visor. After, you know, wiping it with my hand wasn't working. I'd have to completely just lift the visor up from time to time, see, you know, and then put it back down. I mean, it was absolutely crazy. You can even see the, you know, grass flying everywhere. It's stuck on my camera at this moment. So, but I'm going to run with the guys here in front of me for several laps there. I saw the yellow flag. Guys were checking up, and I was like, well, I know you're not allowed to pass under yellow, but I'm going to take it deep and try to keep it tight while everybody else was slowing down. We passed the guy who had spun, and then I was able to pick off a couple more positions there just because I had better momentum through that corner. So again, just, you know, everyone's pretty much staying within a pack. No one's really running away, at least with the guys that I'm running with here. So there's always somebody to race with for the most part. You know, at this point, I think I'm up to 20th place, having fallen all the way back to 37th. So it only took me about 4 laps to get up to 20th place here. And now I'm focused on the number 91. I ended up battling him a couple of times in this race, so you'll see here in the next couple of corners here, I do finally get around him, but I do make a mistake. So, but just following him, it's not a real good passing area here for me. I don't have enough momentum to really try to make a move. I'm not going to send it in the rain. Probably not going to work out for me very well. But I get a hell of a run off that last corner. I'm sneaking in there, like, can I do it? Can I do it? Like, nah, I can't do it. So I back off a little bit and was like, all right, just, you know, can I duck in there? No, I can't do it there either. Can I get a run out of here? But I decided I ended up keeping it tighter than I normally would through that corner. And I thought, you know, let me give him a little shove. Maybe it'll rattle him a little bit, especially in the rain. A lot of guys are scared and nervous in the rain. You can see he bobbles in there on that left-hander. So I get a better run through my bread and butter corner. Even in the rain, it was working out for me real well. And I'm able to get the run off of him and beat him down into the scoreboard corner here and make the right-hander. So this is where I screw up, though. I get the left side tires off. The grass pulls me off completely. I get back on and I gift guys 3 positions back. I was like, oh man, it's like, did not quite work out the way I wanted to. But still, I'm having a ton of fun. I have Tom Harleman in front of me here. I knew he started last place. He knew he was having a hell of a run himself in the rain here. He just showed up for Heat 1. He hadn't been here all weekend long. So, but he's raced here at NC Newcastle Motorsports Park before, so he knew exactly how the layout was and have a pretty good kart setup on his chassis. So now at this point, I'm just trying to hang out with these guys, like, okay, see what we can do. I start catching them again, and at this point, you know, it's like, all right, I'm still got a fire in my eyes. I'm like, I am just so pissed off at myself still, having, you know, spun in the 3rd corner, ended up last place going in the 4th corner. It's, you know, it just I had a bug up my ass, to put it politely. It's about the best way I can put it. So I still want to pass as many people as possible. So I'm going to hang out with these guys and see what I can do. Now there, I kept it real tight coming out of the corner, and I lost some momentum as those guys were allowed to float out, and then they kept their momentum going. Just kind of pulled away from me a little bit here. Now they're going to get a little bit racy at some point. They're going to sort themselves out. Some of the guys are going to start pulling away from me again. There, I got passed by the 151. Had to let up a little bit. I couldn't turn in. I had to get off the throttle for just a split second, so we got a better run off the corner than me. He was able to keep it nice and tight. Look how see how well he took that corner, real nice and tight all the way through. Kept his momentum going. Already he's already pulled on me, so I was pretty impressed with that move by the 151 there. Again, I'm still not comfortable in the kart. You know, I don't know how much I can push it in the rain. I really need to start practicing more often in the rain, but. No, as much as I don't want to do this at a major event like this was the perfect opportunity to learn real fast. We only had 8 laps to get this sorted out. So, as you can see, some of the guys were getting racy and ended up number 91 again, was right in front of me. The last guy I passed right before I went off track here. So here I'm going to reel him back in. Now, I don't want to spend too much time behind him. Obviously, I lost him at one point. You know, I passed him once. I lost him. I caught him back again. I knew I was running better than he was. So I wanted to get back around him. And I'm a competitive, even in the rain, 0 experience. I want to get around him. Here, I get a better drive off of him. That last corner here, can I get it? Can I make the move on into the left-hander? Can I make it? Not quite yet, so gotta wait a little bit longer. But I do get to keep it nice and tight coming on the exit, thinking, can I do it? Can I do it? Oh, he's on a different gear than I am. He's pulling on me, like, couldn't do it. Like, no. So, tuck in behind him again, just to get through corners 1, 2, and 3 here. Now, he didn't take a very good line through that right-hander, which messed up his left-hander, which killed his momentum. Was able to take a pretty good line myself, got on the inside, and finally was able to get around him. So the second time I was able to pass him in this race. And honestly, this was the best thing that could have happened to me at this point. Was now I knew I was going to pull away from him. He wasn't going to be a challenge to me. Not saying that he's a bad driver, but at this point now, there's nobody in front of me. I can't see the guys really well out front. They're pretty far ahead. I'm by myself, and the best thing that happened was now it gave me the opportunity to let's push the kart and see what can it do in the rain. So I started driving as if there was nobody around me, as there wasn't, and I gained a ton of confidence in the next couple of laps here. So as I'm racing by myself, pushing the kart more and more and more. And even when I got off the track, even Matt told me. He's like, hey, it looked like you were tiptoeing your way around for most of the race, but at the end you finally got going. And then I told him what happened. I got by myself. I decided to push the cart, see how much it can handle in the rain, you know, because of the setup Jorge put on here, and the thing was glued to the track. I could not believe how well this thing was going. I was almost taking the same braking zones and throttle application as I was in the dry, even though I'm on a wet track right now and it's pouring down rain. So it turned out really well. So going through here, still trying to... Oh, Tom decides to spin out, gifts me back a position. I think eventually, I don't remember if number 124 who was in the tan coat, I don't know if he does the same thing a little bit here, but we ended up finishing next to each other as far as when we came off the grid here. But I finally just, you know, still pushing. Ended up, what was nice about this is, even though I never really raced in the rain before on a set of wets, have no clue what the hell I'm doing. I still don't know what I'm doing, I'll be honest, I really don't. But I ended up, out of the 37 carts that took the track, I ended up number 12 as far as 12th fastest. I ended up 22nd place, even after going off track, spinning, falling to 37th, ended up 22nd place, but I ended up with the 12th fastest lap. So actually I'm super happy with the way everything turned out. Couldn't have been much better. Alright, here we are for heat number 2, and just as fast as this race is going to start, it is going to be over for me. You're going to see here getting through corner number 1, there was an accident at the very front of the field. It's kind of hoarding in effect. I thought I was going to miss it, and then I got pushed into it from the guys behind me, and my race was over. I bent a bunch of parts, popped a chain, broke my fuel pump, bent a spindle, bent my steering column, and that was it. So I didn't even make it to corner number 2 in the second heat. So that race was over. And then, as I mentioned, it was pouring down rain the entire time, all weekend. It was raining, stopping, and the reason I'm going to tell you this now is because I was so busy determining what setup, rain setup, wet setup, what am I going to do for the final, I didn't know. So what I ended up doing then was forgetting to change the battery in the GoPro. So I never got to record my fourth, which would have been my final the following day on Sunday. So this is going to be the end of the weekend for me here. So thanks for watching. If you guys got any comments, please leave them below. Hopefully we'll see you guys on the track soon.